That's not really the solution. More is not better. What's better is having the right message, the message that actually works. So in an environment where it's easier than ever to send a message, it's the quality message that wins, period. And my mission for the past 12 years has been to figure out what is the message that wins. And that's all of the content that we've put for you inside LCA Nurture.
Zach, what do I do when a video goes viral? How do I milk that for all of it's worth?
Cool. We are fully live. That's a good thing.
There we go. We're live. We've got Mark Rader, my co-host.
Hey.
Dan Stewart, I guess our other co-host, since we do this all the time with LCA Nurture. We're going to be talking. What's the official title of this one? Remaining relevant. How to stay relevant.
How to stay relevant in today's market. That's it.
All right. That's
Exactly.
pretty easy. Dan, take it away, buddy. That is a real background. If you're wondering, that is Dan's real background.
This is a real place.
A green screen.
Real place.
Mark, it's not a green screen. Okay.
No. It's
Shake my
green.
desk. Shake my desk so you know. Yeah, it's real place. Real place. All right. So guys, let's dig in here. Before I begin, I want to ask folks to comment in the chat. I'm going to keep my eyes peeled on the chat throughout today's discussion. And that's what this is. This is a discussion, right? I think most parts of the country right now are starting to embrace the reality that markets are shifting. You know, let's just talk about that, right? You're very likely seeing days on market extend. If you have listings and inventory, you're like, oh my gosh, we need to lower the price here. Some of you are trying desperately to get people to show up to make offers on your homes. Even getting showings in some markets today is a challenge. In other markets, it seems like it's still just white hot fire, right? So let's start out with that. Go ahead in the chat for me. Just write the word fire if your market's still on fire, or write the word shift if you're experiencing shifting. So, you know, we want to talk about that because this message needs to be relevant to you, the people who are here today. So let's have that comment for sure. And while those are coming in, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And we are going to talk about what it actually means to be relevant. So Mark, Tristan, tell me about what that word means to you. What does it mean to be relevant?
Dude,
Top of mind.
Top of
In the
mind?
mix.
What's that?
In the mix.
In the mix. All right. Tristan, anything come to mind for you?
so it's such a great word, dude. I don't know. I think my analytical side's trying to overanalyze the word relevant now, but I'm gonna have to say trending, remaining
Yeah.
trending.
You guys, you're like right on the cusp of it. And this is why I want to start here, because I think we hear it a lot. You know, what do I need to do with my content? Well, you have to make your content relevant. And so the way most of us interpret that is, well, I'm in real estate, therefore my content has to be about real estate. Well, that makes your content relevant to you. Real estate is not always as relevant to the people in your database as it is to you, right? So we want to keep that in context for sure. Now, the definition of relevance for Wikipedia is it's the concept of one topic being connected to another topic in a way that makes it useful to consider the second topic when considering the first.
It sounds like a tongue twister.
I mean, it kind of is. That's a heck of a definition. Thanks, Wikipedia. It's kind of like, you know, if you think about like high school geometry, kind of the transitive property, right? We're connecting things together. Being relevant is a connector. And the way that we think about this as content creators is the way that I want you to understand it in your minds. So I think we can all agree that you must have some sort of content strategy in 2022. Yes or no, right? We must have a content strategy. That is not in debate. The challenge is, how do we make that content relevant to the people we're sharing the content to? And to do that, you've got to have three facets here. So the first is the relationship. Who are you sending these messages to? Is it going to people who know you? Is it going to people who don't? Are these leads? Are they recruits? Are they vendors that you're referring, right? You want to think through, who is the audience for this particular message, right? And then you have to ask yourself, what is the context of that message? Like, why does this matter? And then more specifically, why does this matter now? So 3 things of relevancy I want you to think about. And, this group that we're in right now, we can use this as an example. So Mark and Tristan and I, we know each other, right? I mean, we might not be at the point where I'm ready to have you sleep on my couch for a week when you come to Tampa, right? But we're close. Tristan, come on, couch is ready.
Dude, I was in Tampa 3 days ago.
And you weren't on my couch. What the heck?
I'm outside your house right now.
Okay, come on in, right? So the context of that relationship makes a huge difference, because it would be weird if I sent Tristan a message that introduced me like he doesn't already know who I am, right? We have to really consider the relationship of the audience we're messaging. And then the context of that message. We have to explain to them why we're reaching out. Hey, Tristan, it's me, Dan. I'm reaching out because, like, we have to have some context for that. That makes sense. And then, of course, it must be relevant to this particular moment in time. Hey, Tristan, it's Dan. We're going live in 10 minutes for an LCA webinar. I need your input on A and B and C, right? So that kind of message is highly relevant to this particular moment in time that we're sharing. So, the way to really think about how to stay relevant in today's market is to keep those 3 things correlating to one another and combine it with consistency, right? So just to review here, we've got to have the what down, the reason that we're reaching out. We have to have the why, the reason it matters to this person that we're reaching out to. And then the when, the time, that moment in time that we're all sharing, we have to explain the reason this matters right now in this moment. So, is this clicking, guys? Is this making sense?
100%, dude.
Okay.
I remade that little triangle from before on my notes. I'm like, oh, that's a really good idea.
It's like a nice framework. It makes it easier to absorb and remember, I think. So, let's talk about content first of all, because there's so many different sources of content today, and a lot of them are really doing a fabulous job. Like, think of our friends over at Keeping Current Matters, right? If you want like up to the moment stats about what's going on in the real estate world, they're a great place to get it. They absolutely are. Some of the people listening to this, they may subscribe to a service, and I won't name names, but there are several where you could spend a couple of $1,000s per month and have a team creating blog posts for you, right? And those blog posts are supposed to be really relevant to what's happening today, stuff just packed with keywords to attract people via SEO to your web properties, the websites that you're marketing yourselves on, right? So, content is really important. Now, the way that content gets delivered can vary. What should not vary is the consistency with which it's delivered. In any sort of business practice, consistency equals professionalism, right? Think of Usain Bolt, like fastest runner on the planet. He's consistently the fastest runner on the planet, right? He doesn't like, oh, okay, I won that race. I'm going to just sit around and do nothing now until the next race and expect to show up and win the next race, right? There's a consistency to the effort that he makes between events. And as real estate professionals, there needs to be a consistency to the effort that you're making with people between transactions, right? I mean, if you've done a great job for someone, you shouldn't just pretend that they're going to remember you and want to work with you years later if you haven't made the effort to show up in their life consistently over time, right? So to fulfill this goal, we really just have two levers that we get to steer this particular ship with. One would be the mechanics that you're using, and the other would be the quality of the message. Right. So let's just simplify this to its most basic parts. On the mechanics side, right now, today, this moment in time, there has never been an easier time to send messaging to people. Am I right or am I right? It's true. Everybody has a plethora of ways you can send content.
Yeah.
That should not be a challenge for anyone. And in fact, because there's so many ways to send content, because it's so easy to send content, it actually creates another problem. And that problem would be volume. Like, Tristan, Mark, do you guys have your inbox handy? Like, just take a peek. How many messages do you think you've received today so far?
Too many.
Yes.
I mean, that's the universal answer. No matter how many, it's too many. Right? So not only is our daily experience one of feeling like we're overwhelmed with content, we're also being told, well, we need to do more. We need to send more messaging. And that creates this conflict in all of our minds. Like, well, I don't understand. I'm overwhelmed with getting content and you're telling me I need to send more of it. That's not really the solution. More is not better. What's better is having the right message, the message that actually works. So in an environment where it's easier than ever to send a message, it's the quality message that wins, period. And my mission for the past 12 years has been to figure out what is the message that wins. And that's all of the content that we've put for you inside LCA Nurture, right? So I'm going to show you some examples. We're going to jump into LCA Nurture here in a moment, and I'll show you guys how easy it is to make sure you've got great content. The other thing that we really need to talk about is who should we be messaging? Right. Tristan, quick question for you.
Shoot.
How many people do you have in your database?
Well, just in follow-up, boss, it's 74,000.
Okay. Wow. That's a lot of people. Now, imagine all of those people, they really just belong to one of two categories. They know you or they don't. Is that fair?
Yeah, easy. I like that.
We could divide them up by zip code, by price point they've searched at, by whether they're pre-qualified for a mortgage. I mean, there's all sorts of categories we could put them in.
Yeah.
But when it comes to having a content strategy, we need to think about the relevancy of the relationship first. And, that relevancy would be, do they know me or not? Pretty straightforward.
Easy.
Right? There's just two types of people. Now, the folks who definitely know you, and let's set aside your celebrity status here for a moment, Tristan, right? Let's think about you as the local real estate agent, where there are people who definitely know you because you've shown up in their lives. Like, those are the most valuable contacts in your database. The kind of people who, if they saw you at the grocery store, they'd come over and say hi. They really know who you are, right? Those should be your advocates. Those are the most precious people in your database. And that's where we're first going to focus our efforts, because that's where you're going to make the biggest difference in your personal bottom line, right?
Yeah.
So, let's think about database again as a structure here within a marketing effort. So lots of us are familiar with sales funnels. We pour leads in the top, they come out as sales on the bottom. Today, we're going to focus on that as a bow tie rather than just a funnel. This is a bow tie funnel. So we attract people over here. We generate interest, capture their lead information. You educate, you build trust. You finally convert the lead to an appointment. You build a relationship. You show a bunch of houses, and then bam, you process the sale.
Yeah.
Win. Like that is a sales funnel 101 kind of explanation.
Yep. Yep.
Now let's think long term. Post transaction, the sale has happened. Have we fulfilled them and wowed them? Right? If we've delivered that service that's just a bit better than what their expectations were, they're going to really become your advocates. And that's the secret to really building a real estate career that gets easier and easier year after year, because you've got this growing population of people who insist that their friends and family work with you, right? So again, let's imagine this database divided in half. These people do not know who you are. They're your leads. Your past clients and Sphere all know who you are. There's no question. They worked with you. They definitely know who you are, right? So what's the value of these two groups of people? Well, NAR tells us that the average GCI per transaction in the US is about $6,000, right? So that's what the value is of converting that client, getting that one sale from someone. NAR also tells us that the lifetime value of that client, when you fulfill them, you wow them, you create advocates, and they refer people to you, that value is far above 6,000. That value is 117,000. That's their lifetime value to you if you really build a relationship with them over time, right? So with LCA Nurture, that's why we've chosen to focus on this side of the line. All those people that definitely know who you are so much more valuable than those strangers who don't, right? We must have a plan to focus on that section. And, you know, I like to think of it as own your known, right? They already know you. Let's own them. Own your known, right? They are the fastest conversion to client. Mark, I'm your past client, and my sister is moving. You did a great job for me. I'm going to insist that she works with you. Do you think that lead is closer to transaction than, say, a Facebook lead?
Yeah, I would say so, for sure.
I mean, absolutely. Lead generation is a valuable, important part of our businesses. Let's not mistake that. But we have to understand that that person on Facebook, they didn't go there because they were searching for a realtor, right? They didn't go there because they wanted to buy a house. They would have gone to a search site. They would have Googled something. They'd have gone to Zillow or Realtor.com or Homes.com. So that referral client is always the fastest to convert, and they offer the highest ROI. So that, I mean, for me, that's enough. Let's focus on that section of the database first. Let's own our known. We have to do that. What we should expect as a byproduct of doing that is an average of 12 transactions per year for every 100 relationships we nurture. Okay, 12 per 100. We call that the relationship ratio. Question for you. As you're thinking about, well, who should I send this to? Tristan, you're with KW, right? At Keller Williams, for those who might not know, they teach the concept of METs versus not METs.
Yep.
And I think there's an assumption that just because you met someone, they actually know who you are. And that's not the case. I may have met an agent at an open house a couple of years ago. I don't remember them at all. They signed up, they got on my list, I've put them in my database, but there is no real relationship there. So when we're thinking about these relationships that we intend to nurture, you need to ask yourself, would that person recognize me at the grocery store? Right? Those are the people that you should have inside your LCA Nurture account, right? So let's walk through the steps to get you from where you are to where you want to be, where you know for sure you have relevancy in all of your content and that you're able to pull that volume of transactions from the people in your list. So step one, this won't be a surprise for anyone, is sign up for LCA Nurture. You need to have an account for this to work. Like, poof, mind blown, right? That's the first easy thing you absolutely have to do. The second thing is to export your contacts. They're in all the same places, your phone, email, CRM, and MLS. Piece of cake, right? Your setup should take you about 10 minutes. That's it. And from that moment forward, from the moment you send your first message, you're going to have more conversations with people, right? That's how it works. So, Jake, I know that you're going to drop this in the chat. You probably already have. There's the link on the screen for you. This takes you to where you open your LCA Nurture account. And when you get there, it's going to look like this, right? So you'll see testimonials. Here's one from Barry Jenkins and a bunch of other people using LCA Nurture that are getting great results with it. Okay? And in LCA Nurture, you're going to have all that content for your past clients. It will be delivered in a variety of different ways. So email, text message, ringless voicemail, handwritten card, social media post. And all of that can be done automatically, or you have the choice of just sending it when you choose. So that would be on demand. Right, so the whole library is loaded with content. There are lots of examples of messages here. I'm going to jump into a live account and show you that. But I really want to be clear about what's in here and why it's in here. In all of the testing that we've done at Happy Grasshopper, over 12 years, 26 million contacts nurtured, we know that the best program for past clients in Sphere has 41 touches. The baseline is email once every 3 weeks, works the best. And then that gets supplemented with text and ringless voicemail drops, right? That should come in a 1-2 combo. So Mark, Tristan, let's think about this. What are the sort of reasons an agent would need to reach out to people? Could be a change in market, right? Could be that agent, maybe they really need to get some business going. They need to generate some transactions. Like those are both reasons that are important to the agent, but might not be important at all to that person they're sending content to. Right? So, let's imagine that Tristan is my past client. And I know that it was his birthday 7 days from today. I would want him to get a text from me a week before his birthday that says, "Hey, Tristan, it's Dan Stewart. Am I the first to wish you a happy birthday this year?" Right? That feels like a human touch. It doesn't feel salesy. It's important to him as the recipient, and yet it makes sure that I'm top of mind, right? So I haven't talked about real estate at all, and yet I've accomplished the goal of making sure that he remembers who I am, right? So inside LCA Nurture, there's all sorts of content pulled together for these reasons, plus a ton of social media content and even handwritten cards, right? Now, I know when you go to the page, you're going to want to know, what is this commitment? What does this cost? First of all, once you sign up, you're going to want to use it forever. Let's just cover that. And yet there is no contract, right? So you're not committed. And in fact, if you don't love it, we'll refund your full investment in the first 30 days. Now, the investment itself is small. It's just 47 to start and then 47 per month, right? So super easy to do that. So you guys are going to want to click that link in the chat and go there and open up your accounts. And while you're doing that, I'm going to jump out of this screen share, or this deck rather, and I'm going to show you what LCA Nurture is really all about. So guys, can you confirm you're seeing the right thing on the screen here? This is the homepage.
Yep, I got you.
Dashboard. Okay, perfect. So we have all of your content organized here by different types of sends. So every 2 weeks, relevant to the now, our writers are pushing new messages here for you, right? And you get to rate them. You're going to love some, you might not love others as much. That's totally fine. Some of them are just a little burst of sunshine, right? You probably know some people who would love to get that message from you. And you probably have some you're like, ooh, I don't know, might not be the right message for them. So you've got the flexibility to get the right message in front of people. Here, for example, we're sharing that story in the news. You guys have probably seen this. The pizza delivery guy who saves a family from their house fire. Like, that's an amazing story. It's happening right now. Everybody's talking about it. So we're reaching out to share that positive story. And as we're doing that, we're reminding people who we are and what we do. Right.
That's
So
a really good story to share, man.
There's lots of fun ones in here. There's so many good ones. Beating the heat. This one's kind of fun. These farmers, they built a above ground swimming pool out of hay bales, which, I mean, that sounds totally ridiculous, but it's really hot right now. It's August, like everybody's hot. These guys built their own pool, right? So we're using that as the conversation starter here in the message, linking to that story. And then, we're making a real estate comment, and no, this won't improve their property value, right? How have you been handling the heat? Is there anything you need my help with? We have lots of popsicles and ice cream at my house, although the heat may just be an excuse, right? So friendly. It'd be weird to send that to a lead. It's perfectly fine for your past clients in your sphere. Now, some of you will read that and you'll say, ooh, I want to change it. All of these messages are editable, right? You have the power to make the change. My advice would be choose the message you like the best and then approve that one for delivery. Okay. Now, social media content. I'm so proud of the content that's available here for our members, Tristan. This is designed to be shared from the personal page, and we're starting conversations on real estate related topics, right? When you're moving, do you prefer a property that's a blank slate? Right? The picture fits that perfectly. We're not asking them, are they buying or selling right now? We're just starting a conversation on a real estate related topic. And you'll see that we do that in lots of different ways as we scroll through the content. Why do you love your home? And do you have a tent in your living room? Right? Does your neighborhood celebrate block parties together? What dish do you bring? Right? We're constantly posting on home ownership related topics. And this content is all new once every 2 weeks. And all you have to do is just pick a message, you copy the text, download the image, and then share it in whichever social media platform you choose, right? So lots of great content there. Similarly, we write all your voicemail scripts. You just preview a script, like here, for example, hey, it's me, Dan, over at Happy Grasshopper. Do you have a few minutes to connect this week? I'm working on an important project and I'd just love to have your input. It'll just take about 10 minutes. We can do it over the phone. So I'd really appreciate it if you give me a call back. You've got my number. It's 727-533-5175. Thanks. Talk soon. Bye. Right. But done. Recorded, sent. You're getting replies that come to you. People are calling you back. You're getting to have those conversations. So you'll see there's holiday messages, there's birthday messages, and there's a bunch of lead harvesting content you can use to generate new business. Okay. So Mark, there's a lot here inside the system. We don't have time to go through a whole blow by blow here. I am definitely going to recommend that our audience jump over to that link that we've shared in the chat. And I'm going to stop the screen share there. Let me just check the chat, make sure it's there. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Jake, for sharing that. Really appreciate it. And one other bonus link I'm going to pop in here for you guys. So this link is perfect to just help you get started. This is happygrasshopper.com/white glove, right? So think of this. Some of us are much more friendly with tech than others. It's just a fact. Many of you know you want to keep in touch with people, but your stopping point is, I don't know how to get my contacts organized to do that. If that's you, just follow that link and you can book a one-on-one call with a member of my staff who will help you get over that hurdle so you can start having those conversations that you need, right? Okay. So folks, let's see if we got any questions, we'll hang out and answer them. Otherwise, we're a little bit over our time for today, so can go ahead and get it wrapped up. Mark, do you have any questions or comments?
Yeah, Dan, honestly, man, great stuff. Thank you always for, going into detail and explaining your systems. And, for those who are listening, I personally use Happy Grasshopper and LCA Nurture. And honestly, it's really powerful and it makes my life easier. So if you're looking to make your life easier, then I would suggest clicking on that link.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. And of course, if there's anything I can do, just reach out and let me know.
Awesome. And everyone, this webinar is being recorded and it will be available on our YouTube channel later today. All right.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.